What is up, guys? It's Joe. We're back. We're talking all about the Cats today, and in today's video, it's basketball. Game 2 for the Kansas State Wildcats goes down as a win for the boys, 77-64 over Cleveland State. A little bit sloppier this game, but you see the overall vision of what Kansas State is. They're a long, athletic team that's going to be tough to score points on, and you saw some pop and some offensive flashes here and there. I'm going to talk to you about my thoughts today. Once again, these are one of the daily videos. This weekend's been crazy, so the daily videos took a back burner seat, but the goal is to both talk about the Cats each day and raise some money down the line for a wedding here in the next year or so. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a future video, but either way, reminder to subscribe before we jump in. It helps out a ton. Let's talk ball about the Cats. The boys get the job done, and I know there was times where they looked bad, there was times where they looked great. I have a couple of different takeaways that kind of fall mostly in the positive spectrum. What are you going to overreact to here? The team didn't rebound well. The team didn't, I don't really have a ton of things negative to say on this game. Every bit of what you saw, you kind of liked. There were things like there were the incentives of like, well, it stinks not having a chore on the court. He missed another game. And I think he should be back here by Thursday against LSU. That'll be a big test for the boys. The first team that's probably going to be a less than 10-point spread, if I had to take a guess, one way or the other. We'll see what that line looks like when it does drop. But Kansas State taking on LSU and Cam Carter, headed back to Manhattan to play in Bramlage. Now, this game specifically, there's a couple of different things I want to talk about. First thing that came to my mind, and I want to expand on this further in a future video, but our guy Brendan Hausen is the best shooter in the Big 12. You could take that one step further and say the conference, or the country, but as of right now, it's been an early enough subject size that you can't super overreact. That being said, the boy can shoot the piss out of the basketball. That dude is a hell of a ball player. Led the team in this game. Let me pull up the exact stats. Had 22, 3 and 1, 3 rebounds, 1 assist in 31 minutes played. He looked like the best player on the court for the bulk of the game. Offensively, at least, had that firepower, but you had a lot of guys that were feeding him the rock. Coleman Hawkins went 12, 5, and 2. And I'll talk a little bit about Coleman a little bit here in a sec, but there was a lot more spreading of the basketball in this game. Less assists per person, I would say, but there's more guys getting on the board and scoring. You had 10 points for 4 different scorers. You had Coleman Hawkins with 12, David Gasson with 12, Hausen with 22, and then Max Jones with 11 in 18 minutes. You also had Doug McDaniel with 6, 4, and 2. That's a good stat line, so on and so forth. But the big thing you see is this kid allows you to draw up any set imaginable. And I want to take a look back at last year. I know that it's kind of unfair and kind of a sore subject to keep poking fun at last year, but at some point last year, I think there was an option where Kansas State lost the ability to draw up certain sets for 2 different reasons. One, you didn't have an outside shooter outside of Tyler Perry that, 1, could create separation, but 2, could reliably hit an outside shot. TP could, but if you were going to scheme a set for Tyler Perry, it had to be enough separation to get a shot off, being he's 5'10". You also didn't have a ton of dudes that were confident ball handlers. So the idea of like, all right, we're drawing this guy up here to feed to this guy to facilitate here, you didn't necessarily have guys to rely on. You do now. You can give the ball to Doug McDaniel. You can give the ball to CJ Jones. You can give it to Max or Brendan. If you need them to take care of the basketball, they will. But you have so many outside shooters that you can draw stuff up for, and brilliant basketball minds like Coleman Hawkins and David Gasson to say, okay, I get I'm a 6'10 guy. I can also be a guard at times with the basketball in my hands. I can take care of what needs to be done and not have to let it be, all right, where's the small guy? Find the point guard, go from there. Coleman Hawkins looks like another extension of the point guard position. Even though he's 6'10", the dude takes care of the basketball, makes the right reads and plays, and it's just such a great squad to draw things up. So you get to see more of that this season. I'm sure you'll see more sets, but there was some filthy sets in there for Brendan Hausen to get shots off, as well as some stuff with David Gasson and Coleman Hawkins. But you got to really appreciate the fact that you have the league's best shooter on your team. Whenever you need a shot, doesn't matter if it's from 45 feet or from, whatever, right at the three-point line, give the dude the look because he's going to knock that thing down, and don't let him hit the basket. If you let him see the ball fall, every single shot on the court's falling. He's not one of those shooters that has to see it go down. I don't want to make it sound like that, but you give a shooter an open look and they splash it, you're in for a long night. That's what I'm going to say, and Brendan Hausen is absolutely that dude. So shout out to the Amarillo Assassin, Manhattan Marksman, whatever nickname you want to roll with. Shout out to Brendan Hausen for balling on the big stage. I think another cool moment for this, and you can kind of jump with a couple different things, but a really cool moment in this, and I want to highlight this. Maybe it wasn't the biggest influence on the stat sheet. Maybe it wasn't the biggest thing of the game, the biggest takeaway. Buddy knocking down a big 3, had an open look, team sagged off, Buddy splashes it. The coolest moment was seeing Coach Tang's reaction to that bucket. This season he's been a little bit more serious, he's a little more locked in, and I know he still has the love and passion and joy, but you saw what it meant to him to see Buddy hit that 3. It wasn't just a situation of, hey, big shot, let's go. Coach Tang threw the whole body into the fist pump, was pumped up and clapping, and looked right at Buddy and the rest of the staff. And it was such a good moment for Buddy and Coach Tang that, like, I know we can rebuild through the portal every single season, but having someone that you pour into every single day, develop and choose to stay with you to continue their work towards where they want to be, that is such a special moment seeing Buddy connect on that. Because nobody questions his game from inside the paint. Nobody says, okay, Buddy Rich has a hard time finishing. Nobody says that. The man can get to the cup easily whenever he has the ability to and outjump anybody in the gym, anybody in the lane. But connecting on the outside shot to get guys to force to play out, that's a big deal for Buddy, and you're going to see more minutes of him because of it. So really cool moment for me as a K-State fan, getting to watch a dude choose to stay in Manhattan, work with Coach Sang and the guys last season, then obviously take a step forward. Him connecting on that three was a cool moment. Doug McDaniel. Don't pick on the little guy, folks. The man is not a tiny dude. You can't look at him and say, oh, mismatch right there. He plays big. Big-time players make big-time plays. The dude led the team in steals and looked great doing it. Had a couple of different pickpocket steals that ran out for long transition layups. Obviously, one that was a cross-court pass, which I don't know why people are throwing cross-court passes anymore. Everybody and their brother is lurking. Doug McDaniel happened to be that dude, snagged it, goes coast-to-coast, converts on the bucket. Easy bucket for Kansas State, timeout Cleveland State. These are the things you want to see. Because I know he's still coming off the bench right now, and I'm sure that'll change by Big 12, Big 12 play, but CJ Jones is a damn good point guard. I think he's a really good basketball player, but you understand that Doug McDaniel has more to figure out off the rip. He's a talented scorer. He can facilitate and do the best things possible. CJ Jones just makes the right play every single time. What you saw from Doug was he's not going to say, I'm a liability on defense. I'm a dog. You have to go around me or through me. You're not just going to go past me. That's not the way it's going to go. And you like to see what you see, whether it's facilitating, defensively, scoring. He has got such a high IQ basketball mind that moments like this are really, really good for the program because you see what he can do going forward, especially on a 30-minute-ish basis. Doug McDaniel is going to be a big deal for this Kansas State team. And that's why he played so much more this game. You saw him out there with, I think it was 29 minutes or so. CJ and Max both split at 18 minutes and 14 minutes for CJ Jones. But it's good to see plays like that from Doug McDaniel getting back to the point of where we need to be. Hey, I need to facilitate, get the guys involved. Hey, I need to defend here. I can't be picked on. I have to do this. I have to do this. Him accepting that responsibility and that challenge, that bodes well for him as a player and as an NBA athlete one day. So shout out to Doug McDaniel for that one. Another one that I really like to see, David Gasson is just a pure basketball player now. He's not as stiff as he was. He's not as sticky as he was, I guess the best way to say it. He doesn't sit in a point where it's like, okay, feed the ball to Dave. It's a black hole. Nothing else goes around there. He is able to create, whether it's for himself or for others, with the basketball in his hand. He looks smooth with the ball handling skills. He looks smooth facilitating, smooth taking dudes one-on-one to the cup. He's a damn good basketball player that added some more confidence in his game. Not even just confidence, I would say. He added skill, he added ability, he added a bunch of different things together to make a really, really solid basketball player even better than he was last season. He's going to be a massive piece for Kansas State, and you got to love everything he provides, energy-wise, defensively, offensively. He is truly a guy that can be first-team All-Big 12 offensively and defensively. That's the level that we're at for David Gasson. That's a great thing to see. The more confident he can get, the more smooth he can get, the better he trusts his teammates and vice versa. David Gasson's going to be a big piece. If he's doing what he does consistently like that, we're going to win a lot of games this season. And my last thought for this video, I'll say this right now, by fall, widely viewed as a project when he came here in the transfer portal, I think that boy's more ready than we think. I think Byfall is going to be a beast. And honestly, his mobility defensively, his explosion, and his excitement off the bench has been a big spark plug for Kansas State. I would bank that you see more and more minutes from Byfall as the season continues because he has prowess with the dudes. He can defend. He's mobile. He can be switched 1 through 5. He doesn't have to be a guy that only defends 4s and 5s. He can rotate, do whatever you want, catch lobs, a finish, do the right things with consistency. If he can get out there a little bit more, the project tag on Byfall is not going to be there anymore. That dude can play basketball, and he's ready for a bigger role. Considering it's a former McDonald's All-American who's developing to his game, that's a big deal I saw. So more minutes for Byfall. That's what I'm looking for this season. But guys, it's going to do it for today's video. Thank you all for the support. Reminder to subscribe. I appreciate you all on the channel. I'll see you tomorrow with another video at 8:30 sharp. Take care and go Cats.